Shelby Dwyer. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And thanks for tuning in for the final Yoga for Mental Wellness of the fall 2020 semester. You might hear a buzzing sound. They're doing some work outside my apartment somewhere, and I just keep hearing this noise. So sorry about that. Hopefully it won't be too distracting. And potentially, maybe it'll be a useful way to kind of drop into, tapping into some of your mindfulness skills, breathing, staying present, all that fun stuff. So today for our practice, we are going to be doing yin yoga. You'll want a block or a big textbook, and then potentially I'm sitting on it, but you'll want a bolster or a pillow or like cushion. If you don't have those, it's okay, but some of the poses might not be potentially like as deep or as opening for you as they could be without the props. I will do my best certainly to remember to mention, if you don't have this, here's what you can do. But y'all, I'm human. Sometimes I forget. So do your best with this, just as I'm going to do my best with this. Let's see, a couple of things while folks are getting their props. You might want some layers, so maybe grab socks, maybe grab a blanket, sweatshirt. This is my honorary Luca sweatshirt. He may join us, we'll see. Speaking of which, I don't know if you caught the last minute or so in the final stretch yoga pop-up that happened on Thursday that I live streamed. Moo made an appearance. So that's our other cat who is very, very shy. So if you want to see two of my babies, they're at the end of that video. So maybe about like last minute or so when I'm in a seated meditation. Anyway, so grab, like I said, some props that you'll need. Grab anything that you might want to kind of keep warm in case you're cold. This practice is mostly low to the ground, so it can definitely make the body a bit colder since we're not moving as much, we're not as active, so take care of yourself. If you need to lie on your mat the entire time today, do what's best for you. You know your body best. You are the expert of your body. Everything that I'm just kind of offering in this class is just that, an offering. So take it or leave it, do what's best for you. I'm going to take a sip of water. Let's jump in. To get started, go ahead and just find a comfortable seat. You might sit cross-legged, or if you want to get a little bit of a toe stretch in, I know folks were kind of keen on that last week, you can always come to sit on your heels, resting some pressure in your knees, but your toes are tucked, you're seated on your heels. If at any point that feels like it's too intense, you can always return to a normal traditional seated position. I'm going to take a seated position myself today. So go ahead, settle in. Fidget as much as you need to, kind of move around a little bit. Find where you sort of feel like you're seated pretty evenly on your sits bones. If you're taking the toe stretch or you're seated in a traditional cross-legged position, align your shoulders over your hips. Imagine that as your bottom half of your body roots down, your hips and your legs, can you imagine that your spine is growing really long out of your pelvis? Relax your shoulders, let them melt down alongside you. Sometimes I like to actually put my hands on my shoulders and just kind of smooth them out. Let your neck be soft while the crown of your head is reaching up towards the ceiling. We want to achieve that through a consistent length throughout our spine rather than this craning in our neck to try and sit tall. Ensure that your chin is parallel to the floor. Your ears are aligned over your shoulders. And your hands can rest comfortably in your lap, either palms face up or down, whatever kind of feels more natural to you in this moment. And just take a minute here to settle in to your body. Offer your brain and your body the chance to get on the same page. I know a lot of my students have finals going on, or they're wrapping up at their co-op site. Maybe you were just rushing around before this breaths. And so giving your body, your brain, the chance to just pause, to tune out rather, and turn off any external stimuli. Knowing that there will be internal stimuli that might continue to distract you throughout this practice, and that's okay, it's perfectly normal. When you find yourself distracted, maybe you come back to the sensation of your breath, your clothes against your skin, maybe the gentle pitter-patter of rain outside your window. Maybe you've got music going and you can kind of tune into that. Maybe you can tune into Luca's meow. I don't know if you heard that. Thanks. But anything that helps you just sort of recenter and come back to the present moment. Bring your hands to your belly now. I like to kind of rest them, fingers spread wide, palms resting on either side of my low belly. Fingertips almost graze my belly button. And start to just become aware of breathing into your hands. So breathing into the low part of your belly. Directing your breath so that every inhale gently pushes your hands out. And every exhale gently allows your belly to soften, navel pulls back towards spine. See if you can direct, again, your breath directly to where your hands meet your belly. Take some really deep, full breaths here, long, straight spine. Maybe a gentle sigh out the mouth. Sighing is a really nice way to relieve tension in the body. Slowly bring your hands up to your ribs now, just under your chest. See if you can expand your inhales to also allow the ribs to flare out side to side. So not only breathing into the deep part of your belly, but also allowing the breath to lift and rise up to your ribs. A few more big, deep breaths here. Really nourishing our body with our breath. Slowly release your hands to your knees for a moment. Allow your breathing to return to normal. Maybe gently close your eyes or keep a soft gaze downward at the floor, a few feet in front of you. Check in with yourself right now. It's been a few minutes since you stepped onto your mat, so just notice how you're feeling. Notice if anything has shifted internally for you, whether it's in your mind or any physical sensation you may be experiencing in your body. Interlace your fingers. Bring your hands palm side down to the back of your neck, back of your head, just below your occipital ridge, which is that ridge in the back of your head where your skull meets your neck. And now gently, long, long spine, sit up really tall, tuck your chin toward your chest, and then gently, as if you were smoothing out the back of your head, push your neck forward and down really gently, but more so pushing the back of your head. It's almost like you were smoothing out your cervical spine. Really gently here. We don't want to apply a lot of pressure. Release your shoulders down your spine, down your back, away from your ears. If at any point you start to feel dizzy or kind of nauseated, gently take a big breath in, lift your gaze. And then we'll move on to just bringing our left ear to left shoulder, just getting a nice stretch across the right side of our neck. And again, we don't require a lot of effort here. Just go until you can feel that stretch along the side of your right side of your neck. Gently use your left hand to prop your head back upright, and we'll switch over now, right ear to right shoulder, so that we can breathe into that long, long stretch in the left side of our neck. Soften your jaw, soften your neck as well. Use your right hand to lift your head back up. And go ahead and bring the soles of your feet together. So if you were seated in that toe stretch, come back to sit on your bum. And you'll bring your feet into a diamond shape, or rather your legs. So heel, ooh, wow. Let me just try to get words out. Soles of your feet together. The outer edges of your feet are towards the floor. Your knees are bent out to the sides and like moving towards the floor. And then you can kind of play around with the distance of your heels away from your pelvis. You could take this rounding forward. And so the distance of your heels away from your pelvis is really going to influence how far you can round forward, as well as the stretch or pulling sensation you feel along the inner leg line and your groin. So in yin yoga, as you might be familiar with, we want to find a 4 or 5 out of 10. So not too intense, not too gentle. And what I'm speaking about is actually the sensation we're experiencing in specific areas of our body. So right now in butterfly pose, as we begin to melt our heart forward, maybe sort of shimmy our spine really long and round forward over our legs, depending on the placement of your heels from your pelvis, you might feel the sensation in different areas in your body. Taking a wider diamond, I definitely, for me, feel a lot more sensation across my outer leg line, maybe even outer thighs, across my knees. There's a little bit of pulling. I can definitely feel some sensation along my inner leg line. And as I round forward and kind of release towards my feet, I'm gonna pick my head up so y'all can hear me. I can also feel this spreading of my upper back as it kind of melts across my shoulders down to the floor. Just like an elongation of my spine as it curves up and over as I'm bending forward. The closer my heels are toward my pelvis, the more the stretch, is found along my inner leg line. So find what works for you. Find what your body really needs in this moment. Is it your outer legs need a little bit more love, your inner leg line? And again, not too intense, not too gentle. And once you find that sweet spot, go ahead and hold in relative stillness, releasing all your muscles. If you find that you're rounding forward and your head is dangling, you can always bring a block or a book on the tallest height underneath your forehead for you to rest on. Wherever you are, ensure that you've got space in your midsection to really breathe deeply. Remember when we had our hands on our belly and we were breathing into our hands, expanding our belly. See if you can breathe with that full breath here as well. Recall your ability to bring yourself back to the present moment using one of your 5 senses. Noticing when your mind is distracted, thanking it for doing its job, and redirecting your attention. Breathe deeply into any areas where you feel that sensation, whether it's a stretch, a pulling, maybe some compression in your hips. Notice how your inhales can almost massage out those parts of your body. And your exhales can gently release any sensation you're experiencing that might not be needed in this moment. We've been here for a couple minutes, so notice if anything needs to be adjusted. If perhaps you've kind of noticed that something's falling asleep, like your feet are falling asleep, maybe you gently round a little bit less forward and come upright to alleviate pressure on your ankles. Maybe you want to change the position where your feet are from your pelvis. Maybe you'd like to sit upright and press your hands into the earth alongside you with a long spine, still pressing your knees toward the ground. And certainly you can stay exactly as you are for the next couple of minutes. Again, I invite you to listen to what kind of messages your body is sending you, right? So if your body is kind of craving more of this, like being a little bit more alert and upright, then sit upright. And if you find that you need a little bit more grounding energy or kind of want to curl into yourself for a little bit, maybe round forward. To me, practicing yoga, whether it's in the asana form, this physical movement and postures, or whether it's kind of living yoga off the mat and in my life, for me, it's really about this non-judgmental practice. So not judging my body for its ability to do a pose or not do a pose, or how deep I can move into a pose, or how flexible I am. But truly meeting my body where it's at, knowing that it's different day to day, right? Today it's kind of cold and wet and rainy here in Boston. And so for me, my body is a little bit more achy, I guess, a little bit more tight. So I want to be gentle. If it was really warm out, I might be a lot more flexible. Also, I've been sitting all day, so my body is definitely not as warmed up as it could be, right? And so just observing these things, noticing them without judgment, and honoring my body's ability nonetheless. Take a big, deep, full breath in here. And sigh it out the mouth. If you're rounding forward on your inhale, lift your torso. Use your arms to close your knees together. And then just extend your legs long in front of you. Maybe kind of windshield wiper the legs back and forth. Swish your ankles, swish your feet. You might find that bending your knees and then windshield wiping the legs side to side, just kind of like tilting your pelvis over to one side. Whatever helps you really just kind of release that last pose. I also like to come back into butterfly for a moment, bring my heels close to my hips, and then kind of flutter my knees up. You might even hold your toes with your hands just to kind of warm them up. All right, and whenever you feel complete doing whatever movement your body really needed, we'll find easy pose. And so easy pose, traditional cross-legged seated position. If you've got a blanket nearby or even your block or a textbook, you could always bring that to rest underneath your seat. But we'll take easy pose with an arm twist. So if you attended the final stretch on Thursday, I think it was when we did this pose. So it's back because I really liked it. So we're gonna thread our right arm over towards our left knee, and then thread our left arm underneath our right so that we're crossed. Our arms are sort of in like an X shape. So right arm is on top, left arm is underneath, and our hands are reaching toward opposite knees. And now gently begin to sort of melt your heart forward and see if you can rest your head against your arms. If you find that you need a bit more support, that's where your block or a book can come in handy. Again, prop it in front of you, rest your forehead onto it. If you want to get real cute, you can wrap your arms around you so that your hands are resting on the backs of your shoulders and you're giving yourself a hug as you round forward. This helps really expand the back, expand your upper back, broaden through your shoulders. Perhaps offers you a stretch across the back of your shoulders, even atop the actual shoulder heads here. Again, be mindful that you've got space in your torso to breathe really back, to massage out that expansion that you're creating. Allow your jaw to be soft, your tongue is soft, your neck is soft, your forehead is smooth. See if you can drop deep into your internal experience without judgment. But merely noticing the experiences and sensations within your body. If at any point you have any compression in your neck, you can always gently lift your torso, lift your gaze, and then keep your chin tucked so you can keep your cervical spine, the back of your neck, in alignment with the rest of your spine. But your head is lifted above your heart, so you're avoiding any sort of compression or pressure in the neck. Be here for less than 30 seconds. Maybe you even notice that there's a heaviness to your pelvis and a heaviness to your glutes. Maybe even a stretch across the back of your legs and outer hips in this shape. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. Inhale, lift your torso. Gently open up the arms side to side out like wings. Maybe reach them long overhead. Bring your hands behind you, press them into the floor, hug your shoulders together down your back, then push your heart up towards the ceiling. Maybe drop your head. Just a little back bend here. And now look down, notice which leg is in front, and gently switch your legs so that it feels awkward. And now remember, our left arm was forward, so now we're gonna thread our, let's see, our right arm, left arm will be underneath our right. Mirroring you again, and clearly I don't excel when I do this. But whatever we were just doing, we're doing the opposite. So again, you might hug yourself, wrapping your arms around you. Again, ensuring that you're, shoot, what did we do? I can't remember what I did when I mirrored with you. I'm so sorry. This is live, so just forgive me. But whatever arm was in front, we want the opposite now. All right. And then again, you can just gently rest your hands on your knees, or maybe you give yourself a hug, and then you might round forward, maybe letting your head drop or rest on a block or a book. Depending on your range and flexibility, you might find that you can sort of stay rounded forward with your head resting against your hands. But wherever you are, ensure that you've got a long spine and space in your midsection so that you can breathe really deeply. Notice any differences in your body now that we've switched sides, right? Our bodies are not symmetrical, so one might feel different than the other. Maybe one feels a bit more open than the other. Again, just observing our internal experience without judgment. Being almost like a curious witness to our experience. Full deep breaths into your belly, maybe allowing that breath to rise up to your upper back and massage out your shoulder blades. Soft jaw, and your muscles are also relaxed. If at any point there happens to be too much pressure forming in your neck, you can always gently lift your chest. Keep a long spine, cervical spine or back of your neck in alignment with the rest of your spine, so your head lifted above your heart. Be here for about 30 more seconds or so. Long breath in. Full sigh, lift your torso, unwind the arms. Maybe cactus your arms side to side, push your heart forward. Maybe bring your hands to your upper back and just kind of massage out your upper back for a moment. Extend your legs long in front of you. Maybe reach toward your toes. Just kind of give yourself a little bit of a stretch across the back of your legs. Then whenever you feel ready, we will move into bridge pose. And it's not going to be your traditional bridge that you've done in a vinyasa class, but you'll want your pillow or your bolster somewhere near the top of your mat. And then you'll bring your block or textbook on the medium height, so like this, near the edge of your mat, bottom of your mat, end of your mat, whatever works. And now you'll actually come to rest most of your torso onto your bolster. So like me, you might have to kind of play around a little bit. Your head is going to rest on the floor on the other side of your bolster or your prop. Your feet are going to rest on your block. I did not line this up well, so let me scoot it forward a little bit. All right. So for me, with my alignment, the top of the bolster hits somewhere underneath my shoulders. The bottom of the bolster hits the upper part of the back of my thighs. I'm going to take my glasses off. And the back of my head, like the crown of my head almost, is touching the mat on the other side of my bolster. And so here in bridge pose, we can keep our arms long alongside us. Maybe we rest our arms on our torso. Maybe you reach the arms overhead. Reaching the arms overhead will create more of an expansion and an opening across the front of the body, as well as maybe more of an opening across the chest and your collarbones. Maybe some pressure in the tops of the shoulders. You've got your arms down alongside you. The emphasis is really on opening up through the stomach, the hips, and your chest. If at any point it starts to feel like too much on your neck or on your head, recall that you can actually offer yourself some support, maybe stacking your wrists or your forearms behind you to lift your head a little bit. Without that support, it's almost like a little bit of a baby inversion where your head is just below your heart. We won't be here for too long, so breathe really deeply. Breathe really fully into the whole front side of your body. Let your body be heavy and supported by the props and the earth beneath you. Let your breath be like a wave through your body. Consciously relax your shoulders, your knees, your legs, your feet. We've got less than a minute here. Notice again your own internal experience, right? Being curious and non-judgmental. But notice how this shape makes you feel. Notice any emotions that arise and simply name them without necessarily trying to change them or engage with them. Maybe you feel strong, maybe you feel vulnerable. Maybe this feels exposed or powerful. Whatever it is, again, meet it without judgment. And then just as we're about to do, releasing the awareness of that emotion. Just as we're about to release ourselves from this pose. Big breath in. And exhale. Gently take your feet off of your block. Roll yourself very gently over to one side. Remove your pillow or bolster from underneath you and then return to lie back flush on your mat. Extend your legs long, extend your arms alongside you. And just pause for a moment. Let everything relax. Let your whole body be heavy. Relieving yourself of any effort. Whenever you feel ready, you'll gently make your way back up to a seated position for a moment. And you'll want your block or your book moved off to the side. And you'll need your bolster or pillow again. And the bolster or pillow can go somewhere near the top of your mat. I'm going to turn away from you. I promise it'll make sense. But so initially, you'll turn over to one of your sides. So I'm going to turn over toward my, come onto my right hip. And I'll sit my hip right up against the bolster. My front leg, which will be my left leg, is going to be bent at a 90-degree angle coming out from my hip. My right leg will also be at a 90-degree angle, knee coming out directly from the hip. From here, here's why I wasn't facing you. I'm going to twist my torso over my pillow or bolster and rest my head on the pillow or bolster. You have glasses, you might want to take them off because they definitely get in the way. But here we're really emphasizing a twist along our spine. If it feels like it's a little too much to be twisting all the way over opposite, gaze opposite your legs, you can always bring yourself to rest your chin on top of stacked palms. Gaze over your, like the top of your bolster. Or you could even have this be a little bit more restorative and just rest your torso on the bolster, gaze facing towards the left side of your space. So just in case, I'll show you what it looks like. So again, find what works for you. Find what works best for your body in this shape. I'm going to go ahead and flip back around. If it feels like twisting your gaze, your head opposite your legs, feels like too much pressure along your neck, that's where keeping your gaze maybe straight ahead, in alignment with the rest of your spine or towards your legs might be a better option. So find what works for you here in this twisted roots, or reclining twisted roots is what I believe it's called. Breathe really deeply into the left side of your ribs. You might think of these twists as sort of ringing out the semester. Releasing anything that just isn't working, that you want to not carry with you into spring 2021. Big full breaths into your torso. As you feel ready, big full breath in here. And exhale. Slowly untwist. Come up to a seated position for a moment. Maybe take this as an opportunity to just sit with a long, straight spine. Tuck your chin gently toward your heart. Lift up through the crown of your head. Notice right to left sides of body and how they feel. Notice what it's like to breathe more freely without that constriction of the twist in our torso. And gently, as you feel ready, we'll move on to the other side. So this time, bringing your right hip up against your bolster, your pillow. Your right knee is coming directly out of your hip. Your leg is in about a 90-degree angle, so your right ankle is underneath or directly in alignment with your right knee. Left knee, same thing, coming out directly from the hip. Left ankle in line with your knee. And again, you might gently just sort of lay on your bolster, taking more of this relaxing side bend. Maybe you gently twist your heart toward your bolster and rest your chin or your forehead on stacked palms. Maybe you take the full expression of this pose and twist your spine so that your gaze is opposite your legs. So find what works for you here. And really where we're feeling sensation in this shape is across our spine and our upper back. If you're in the full expression, twisting twisting so that your gaze is opposite your legs, you might actually feel some pressure along the outside of your right leg. I'm sorry, you've probably noticed that hissing sound that's been going on. That's my heat coming on. Breathe fully and deeply here again. Maybe this time into the right side of your ribs. Letting your breath really expand your torso and expand your midsection. Letting the ribs flare out side to side as you inhale, just as we did at the start of this class. Letting this twist just really wring out anything that's no longer serving you. Any repetitive thoughts or ruminations. Any worries that you've had. Offering yourself the space to just be present with your breath and your body as a non-judgmental and curious observer of your experience. Good boy, Luca. And Luca is here, breathing with you. He just came up and sat in the chair. Good boy. We won't be here for too much longer, so big, full breaths here. Wringing out your spine. Big breath in. Gently exhale. So is my heat. Inhale, slowly begin to bring your torso upright. Swing your legs around. Move your bolster or your pillow off of your mat. And then let's check on time. How are we doing? All right, gently come down onto your back. Try to move things out of the way. Huck your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe rock your pelvis side to side. Good boy. And then just for a moment, extend your legs long. Feel a stretch across the back of your legs. And now wrap your left leg over your right and cross at your knees. And then begin to pull your feet with your hands. So bring your hands to the outside of your feet and start to pull your legs down toward you, keeping the cross where it is, right? So knees are still crossed. Flex through your feet. Maybe kind of wiggle your hips side to side. And there's this simultaneous action of pulling your feet toward you, so bringing your knees closer to your chest, and also pushing your feet away from you in opposite directions. This is technically, I think, called reverse butterfly. Here you might feel some pressure or stretching across the outer right hip, maybe some pressure in the left hip. Maybe you can feel pulling across the outer leg lines in both legs. Maybe some pulling across the outer right IT band or outer thigh on our right leg. Breathe really full and deep. Your legs might be offering some weight to your belly, but again, really breathe fully into your low belly. Those deep breaths can offset any intense sensations. Big breath in here. Sigh it out. Inhale and gently release your legs for a moment. Plant your feet on the ground. Keep your legs or feet wide as your mat. Knock your knees in together. Rest your hands on your belly. Maybe close your eyes for a moment. Notice for a moment the awareness of your left leg and your right leg. Any difference along the outside of your legs. Notice if your pelvis feels different left to right. Whenever you feel ready, we'll move on to the other side. So this time crossing your right knee over your left. And then again, reaching for your feet. If you can't reach your feet, you can always reach for your shins. And then again, gently, it's pulling your legs toward you. And at the same time, your feet are kind of pushing in opposite directions. Knees are stacked. And don't worry if your legs are, one leg is kind of down, one leg is up. Try to keep your legs sort of parallel and level with one another. And again, finding that 4 or 5 out of 10. Maybe you experience a bit of a stretch across the outer leg lines. Maybe there's some pressure in your hips or a stretching across your glutes. Maybe gently rock side to side if you feel like there's a little bit of tension built up. I know for me, this side is a lot tighter. And I just noticed that I was sort of clenching my jaw. So I'm going to shimmy my hips a little bit to just release any of that tension. Deep, full breaths here. Breathing into any areas that might feel really tight. Big breath in. And exhale. Inhale, slowly unwind your legs. Hug your knees into your chest. And then maybe bring the soles of your feet together, wrap your hands around your feet, and just kind of press your knees out. Maybe rock from side to side, so taking butterfly, but this time on our back. And then as you feel ready, transition to happy baby pose. So your knees, so that your knees are coming in down, pressing in towards your shoulders. And it'd be like if you were upside down, you'd be in a squat position, but right now you're on your back. So your feet are reaching up towards the ceiling. And you can reach your hands on the inside or the outside of your feet, whatever feels better for you. Or maybe you hold your ankles or your shins, or you can even hold behind your knees to pull your thighs down toward your side waist. Finding whatever works for you here. Maybe rocking your hips again from side to side. Sometimes it can feel good to straighten one leg, keeping the other bent, flexing through your foot. And then maybe stretching the other leg long, flexing through your foot. Take another big full breath in here. And sigh it out. Slowly lower your feet to the mat. Extend your legs long. Go ahead and set yourself up for Shavasana. I know we did a lot of forward folding, so if you've got your book or a pillow nearby, oh, thank you, yay. You can always rest your head on it for Shavasana. If you do decide to have your head propped up, just make sure that you're not compressing your spine too much or compressing your neck too much. And then fidget as much as you need to in these first few moments. Scratch any itches that might arise. Grab some, knocking my lights over. Grab some socks or a blanket. Get yourself all nice and cozy. If it feels safe to do so, close your eyes. And just as we've done during this whole class, these whole 60 minutes together, can you be that curious observer of your internal experience? Can you notice any areas where you're clenching or holding where you don't need to and you can gently release that part of your body? Are there any worries that your mind is replaying that maybe you can postpone for now? Just as we wrung out our spine in that twisted roots pose, can you wring out anything that you don't need? Keeping attention to only those parts, those thoughts, those emotions, anything that really boosts your mood or makes you feel more alive, more authentic, more you, more comfortable. You're deserving of rest, of care, of peace. So give yourself these next few moments to experience that and to just really meet your body where it's at. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Allowing your breath to be like a wave that gently starts to awaken your body. Maybe roll out your ankles, point and flex your toes. Roll out your wrists gently. If you've got a pillow or a block or a book under your head, gently release it and gently turn your head from side to side. Slowly begin to make your way over onto one side. And pause when you get there. Just kind of curl into a ball for a moment on your side. And as you feel ready, slowly lift your torso and come back to the seated position that we started this practice with. Maybe you have your eyes closed or with a soft gaze at the floor a few feet in front of you. Long spine, shoulders aligned over your hips, chin parallel with the floor, ears in alignment with your shoulders. Bring your left hand to rest over your heart, fingers spread wide. Right hand rests on top of left. Apply a gentle pressure so that you can really feel the weight of your hands over your heart. Offer yourself gratitude for making time for this practice today. Offer your body gratitude for being able to move in the way that it did during this practice and the way that it supports you each and every day. Offer your mind some gratitude for busting its little smart butt this whole semester and for meeting yourself with curiosity and a non-judgmental stance during this practice. And lastly, send some gratitude and care out to those who practiced virtually with you, whether you're live or watching this recording. Big full breath in. Exhale. Second one, big breath in. And exhale. Last one, make it count. Big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Slowly lower your hands to your knees. Gently roll your shoulders a little bit backwards and then maybe forwards. Slowly begin to blink open your eyes. Come back to your space. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I will be back January 11th, y'all. Will be the next live stream Yoga for Mental Wellness. We've got tons of videos that I think I've done since March that are uploaded here, so definitely check them out, as well as some other amazing teachers that are collaborating with CSDS and hosting live yoga every week. They've got some recorded videos, so definitely check those out. Best of luck wrapping up the semester. You have done an amazing job. You are all so brilliant. I hope that you have a really restful, nourishing, calming winter break, and I look forward to seeing you next year. Oh my God, so cheesy, right? But I love it. Bye. Say bye, Luca.